videos, with the first top 10 videos. Don't you ever hate it when they do the top 10 worst games based on films? I'm not doing that. I'm doing the opposite. Top 10 best video games based on films. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Ghostbusters! Since original NES classics had been released after the original Ghostbusters film, much hope for a good Ghostbusters video game was in the depths. But they were wrong. 2009's Ghostbusters for the Xbox 360, Wii, and I believe PlayStation 3 was actually surprisingly good. I mean, I've played it on the Wii and I completed this first mission right here, and it's actually really well presented. I mean, think about it. You get to be a Ghostbuster and zap down endless amounts of ghosts. It's kind of like a weird third-person shooter, with an awesome storyline and good acting as well. So on from the first one to number 9. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. For those of you who do not know, and are likely living under a rock, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor is a game based on the Lord of the Rings series, which has similar hack-and-slash combat to Assassin's Creed games, such as Assassin's Creed 1, 2, Brotherhood 3, Unity. You get the idea. Although my feelings of the game were generally negative because it was, when I first saw it, because it was generally based on a film, and most games that are based on films generally are bad, it was actually surprisingly good. You get £40, there's lots of good content in there, with you being able to hack apart orcs, choose different factions, and generally just be a badass through the whole game. And with that said, let's move on to number 8. Alien Isolation. Dear God, this game is scary. After Alien Colonial Marines, all hope was lost for another good Aliens video game, because if you can screw up Colonial Marines that much, then obviously any sequels you make will be horrible. But no, a rogue gaming company came up and made an amazing standalone video game based on a young woman who's trapped on a spaceship with the aliens, or chestbursters, or xenomorphs, whatever you want to call them. Never really given any proper names, but there's so many you can call them that nobody really bothers giving a main name. Okay then, away with the cringe, and on to number 7. Mad Max. If you've ever watched the film series, which you may or may not have, Mad Max is about a world set in the apocalypse after all world has gone to hell. And Max, with his dog, in the second one, Mad Max the Road Warrior, I think it was Road Warrior, he embarks on an adventure to, well, get out of hell, and go into massive arena and nearly kill himself in the process. And the video game takes in all that the films did: explosions, horrifically disembodied cars, murder. It's kind of like GTA set in the apocalypse. Surprisingly enough, games seem to have improved that are based on films, generally from what you've seen from the first few ones on this list. And without further ado, skipping on ahead to number 6. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. A Star Wars adventure game with role-playing elements, developed roughly around 5 to 10 years ago. This game is different from many other Star Wars games that come out because it was an RPG. Most games at this time had been sort of hack and slash lightsaber progressed games, but this game chose to be different, driven on story, secret identities, different planets, speech, and turn-based combat. Star Wars KOTR has always held a place in my heart since I began playing it on the PC a year or two ago, and although the ending was fairly awful, the game is still inevitably a fairly good game based off a film series. without further ado, on to number 5. Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. A stealth-based game based on the fairly unpopular and slightly unsuccessful film Butcher Bay combined dark elements and a gritty prison and storyline to go with it. You play as, obviously, Riddick, a man trying to escape Butcher Bay, where the guns all have DNA locks. Where the guns all have DNA locks. The guards are well trained, and every step you take could be the end of your life. Failing that, you can always play Hello Kitty because that's always on the market. But as I said before, in previous numbers before this, onwards the list we go. Star Wars Battlefront. As in the original, not the, new awful one. Star Wars Battlefront set the standard for Star Wars games. Good action, lots of missions, single player and multiplayer, lots of classes, above all the different eras, different planets from the series to explore, good third person and first person action, and tons of vehicles to ride. Star Wars Battlefront was different from other Star Wars games before, because it focused more of a Call of Duty third person shooter, but did it well. And so, with the fourth one being knocked off the list, it's now time for the top 3. The Warriors. A game made by the same company who made Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar Games. The Warriors game is based off the 1979 Walter Hill classic, with the police smashing, car brutaling, and melee punching action that the film always had. You'd be surprised that this is actually got in a game due to many other action-oriented car-driving police smasher games like GTA being out around the time, such as Saints Row. But this game lived above them all, and it conquered it well. Next on the list, number 2. Virtually every single game, virtually every single Lego game that is based off a film. Honestly, I can't choose any one of them. Currently, you've got Lego Indiana Jones playing, but all of them are brilliant. The simple idea of breaking up Lego bricks and then building them back up fast to make new objects is pretty inspiring and quite defining for different games of this time. Such simple graphics and gameplay mechanics can really make a game great, even if the film itself was pretty bad. I'm looking at you, Lego Jurassic World. And without further ado, finally, let's get on to the number 1 best game based on a film. GoldenEye 007. Based off of the well-loved James Bond franchise, GoldenEye 007 did what it delivered. A brilliant shooting James Bond masterpiece based off the film, as he reprised the role of the secret agent James Bond, going on a mission against a corrupt Russian general. It came out on the platform Nintendo 64 and is deemed one of the best games on Nintendo 64 as one of the best games of all time. My name is Afer Alfonso, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. See you all next time.